The idea with the flipped classroom is that instead of doing the lecture in class, you do the lecture at home. So the lecture is videotaped and you're watching the video of the lecture, taking your notes at home, and then you're doing the practice problems in class. So the concept is that you don't really need the teacher around to watch the lecture. Some students certainly ask questions, I get that, but in all honesty, they don't ask a lot of questions during the lecture. And what the students can still do is write their questions down while they're watching and ask the next day. Where a student really needs the help is when they're working the problems. And so it makes much more sense for them to work the problems in class, where I'm there to help them, instead of just kind of talking at them and hoping they can figure the problems out at home.
I actually like it better because I think it forces you to understand the material. You have to do notes yourself, and a lot of the learning is individualized and it's self-paced. So it really pushes you to do what you need to do by a certain time, and I think having the checkpoints is probably a really, really good aspect to this class, because if you didn't have that and it was just like get to this point by the end of the year, you wouldn't do that. They
don't get to move on to the next unit until they've quote-unquote mastered the unit they're in, and by mastering it means that they've passed the test with a certain grade depending on the level of chemistry they're in. It's work, but it's work either way. But the students in general, there's a lot of them really like it, because one of the other benefits to this is that I say, well great, if you have a football game tonight, don't do chemistry, that's fine. All that means is tomorrow you do a little bit extra. And some students need a little more help. Some students I sit down with every Monday and say, okay, let's talk about what we should do this week. And some students do it themselves. I see their planners and they're like, this is what I'm going to do Monday and this is what I'm going to do Tuesday. And some just kind of go. I have some who like to do a lot on weekends and free up their week with other classes. I mean, there's lots of different ways that it can work. My class is really like a huge tutorial. The kids are all working on different things, and I really just walk around and I'm helping them. But really, they're working at their own pace to a certain extent. And so what that allows me to do is, one, it allows me to differentiate in chemistry. So in one classroom, I have 3 levels of chemistry now. I have honors chemistry, regular chemistry, and introduction to chemistry, which I could never do in a traditional setting. So chemistry is hard in the sense that it's both qualitative and quantitative. There's a lot of memorization and vocabulary concepts, but there's also a lot of mathematical problems. And so students tend to be better at one versus both. And so what this allows them to do in the flipped classroom and the mastery level learning environment is it allows them to maybe go a little bit more slowly through the types of problems that are more difficult for them, and then they can speed up in the units that are easier for them. But overall, they're getting through the material. They just don't have to get through each unit at the same pace as every other student.
I feel like we've gone a lot farther than a lot of other chemistry classes would go. I know a lot of chemistry classes do labs and everything, but since I transferred here this year, I noticed that I would say teachers care more here, and especially Miss Landry with all these experiments and everything, it helps to learn a lot. Like what we're doing right now, it helps you understand what you're doing a lot better and why you're doing it. You can tell Miss Landry loves what she does, and she's good at it. I think she's a great teacher, and that she definitely is always willing to help you, always, no matter what. She'll stay after, she'll tutor you when you need it. If you really don't understand something, she'll explain it to you in a way that you understand. Yeah. And I feel like she really does care about this class in chemistry, and that she has an obvious passion for it. Yes. And it comes out in when she teaches it.